Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're doing this or that Azelaic Acid, the ordinary versus Paula's choice. Now, if you've seen any of my other this or that comparison reviews, you know I like to do like 2 to 3 battles, about like 6 products total. However, in today's episode, I just want to focus on these 2 products, just one battle. I just want to give it a little bit more time to really kind of go in depth and explore. So I'm kind of trying something a little bit different, and of course I want to know what you guys think about this format, so let me know in the comments once you watch the video. Do you like just one battle, or do you like a couple different battles per episode? Let me know in the comment box below. So if you guys are ready to get into this comparison review, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. So first up, let's talk about azelaic acid. It is a chemical exfoliating ingredient, but it's not an AHA or a BHA. It's related to them, and it actually has some similar properties of both AHA and BHA, but technically it's not either one of those. It's in a class of its own. Azelaic acid helps to regulate your skin cells. So it's really going to help to keep all of those dead skin cells from getting caught and trapped inside of your pores, creating plugs, which can, lead to lots of clogged pores or can even lead to acne. I think that's one of its biggest claims to fame. It can really help keep the pores clean. It's also an antibacterial ingredient, so it's actually a very good choice if you are suffering with acne. And it's an anti-inflammatory ingredient, so it can really help soothe inflammation on the skin. And in fact, it's very good at soothing inflammation that causes rosacea flare-ups. And it also has brightening properties. There's actually a lot that azelaic acid can do. It can really help to brighten up your skin. It's been shown to be particularly effective for hyperpigmentation, especially if you get like those dark marks left over after your pimple goes away. It can really help to fade that and to even out your skin tone. All right, let's get into the this or that battle. And I first want to talk about the ordinary azelaic acid suspension 10%. So like the name suggests, we have 10% of azelaic acid here. And honestly, when I look at the ingredients, it's very minimal and there's really not much else of note in here. It's just all about the azelaic acid. So this is a cream texture. As you start to spread it across your skin, it's going to feel kind of thick, like surprisingly so, almost like paste-like. It's not at all what you're expecting. But then like the warmth of your finger starts to warm it up and it starts to spread a lot easier onto the skin and it starts to thin out. It doesn't feel quite as thick anymore, but it is a very silicone heavy type of cream. You can really feel that silky siliconeness to it, and it does have a little bit of a dry finish on the skin, almost like powdery kind of a finish. So it's not bringing hydration to your skin. It's not bringing moisture or richness to the skin. It's just a layer of skincare, if you know what I mean, but it's not really bringing anything except the azelaic acid into your skin, and it's not a heavy layer at all. So based on that texture description, you can see why this might be a little bit tricky to use. This product definitely does have a little bit of a reputation for being like a bad texture. I've definitely called it out on my channel before for having like a strange texture, and yeah, it's definitely not what you expect it to be, and it can be kind of tricky to use. Now, azelaic acid suspended in a cream like this should be used at the end of your skincare routine, right before moisturizer. Most people aren't really like used to using their exfoliants at the end. We're used to using them towards the beginning, so I wanted to point that out. This type of cream texture, definitely put that at the end of your skincare routine with a moisturizer on top. So that can make layering this into your routine a little bit tricky with that silicone finish. If you have something really wet, like a really wet serum, like a super hydrating serum on that maybe didn't fully absorb into your skin, and then you put a layer of this on top, you might experience some pilling. Sometimes moisturizers don't always play well, although generally moisturizer will go on top of this pretty well because there's often some type of silicone in the moisturizer, but not all skincare plays really well with this type of texture, so you might encounter problems. Definitely give yourself a good wait time to let anything you put on before this absorb into your skin. Give it a little bit of time. Give this like a couple minutes and then put your moisturizer on. You're probably going to sidestep a lot of issues if you just give yourself a little bit of dry time. But I'm also going to share with you a technique that like actually changed my opinion about the texture of this product a little bit later in the video. So stay tuned if you're trying to make this one work. I have a hint for you that might help open up the world of possibilities with this product. And one of the best things that I want to point out about this product is that it only costs a cool $8. That's right, single digit. $8 for a 30 milliliter of product. So there's like a huge storm that like just started. It's like pouring rain and there's thunder, and I don't know if the mic's gonna pick up anything, but just so you know, there's like a huge storm happening. Next up, let's talk about the Paula's Choice 10% Azelaic Acid Booster. Now the name says it all. We have 10% of azelaic acid, but we also have salicylic acid and licorice root, and that's where the booster comes in, because salicylic acid also an ingredient that helps keep your pores clear. It's a BHA exfoliant. Azelaic acid helps with keeping the pores clear by regulating the skin cells, and the salicylic acid helps by clearing out what might have gotten trapped inside of your pores. So a really interesting duo that are working in synchronicity here, right? And then licorice root extract actually does help with hyperpigmentation and evening out the skin tone, which is something that azelaic acid does as well. So we've got the boosters here, and we've got a good amount of azelaic acid. Let's talk about the texture of the Paula's Choice azelaic acid. This is also a creamy azelaic acid suspension, and this might be a little bit more what you were thinking when you thought cream azelaic acid. It's a easier texture to work with. It's a little bit silkier, a little bit more like a moisturizer type of texture. I do believe this brings just a little bit of moisture into the skin. It's not super heavy, but I do think it brings a little bit more to the skin than the Ordinary does. Great spread, great absorbency, and it doesn't have like a strange finish, like a shininess or anything. It's just like a really easy to use texture, something you're most likely not going to encounter layering issues with. But just like the Ordinary, this is something you want to put on right before your moisturizer, after all your other skincare products have absorbed into your skin. Now the Paula's Choice is a little bit more expensive than the Ordinary, which most skincare is a little bit more expensive than the Ordinary, but this is at the higher end of azelaic acid costs. It's $36 for 30 milliliter of product, which is the same amount in the Ordinary. So let's talk about the Ordinary first, and my experience with it, because I actually used this product many years ago and I hated it. Now this was actually one of the first widely available azelaic acids on the market, at least that I was aware of, because for me and my azelaic acid journey, the only way I was able to get it was through an online prescription service through Curology. I was so interested in the ingredient. I had heard so much about it. One of my favorite bloggers at the time was talking about like trying to order it from Poland and like smuggle it into the United States or something without a prescription. It was not easily available, and then the Ordinary was able to bring this product to market, and it's so affordable and it's like not illegal. So definitely something that sparked my interest, but I was super turned off by the texture almost immediately. Now I'll be bluntly honest with you, when I tried this, I was really just at the beginning of my skincare journey. You know what I mean? I was kind of a beginner. I was a little green. So I wasn't really that willing to work with it. I wasn't really that well versed in different skincare textures to know why it was pilling and balling up on me, or why it just didn't work on my skin. You know what I mean? So I just stuck with my Curology prescription because it has actually a texture pretty similar to the Paula's Choice. So yeah, I wrote this one off for the longest time, and I actually just recently, a few months ago, shaded this product. Did I not? I was like, this texture is really bad. But since I've been getting more deeply into the Paula's Choice product, I was kind of curious to like really get my hands on this again and just kind of give it a second shot. You know what I mean? So I did pick this up recently, and I still kind of feel the same way about the texture. I don't love it. It's not actually as bad as I remember it to be. But I did figure out how to make this work for my skincare routine, how to sidestep all the issues with the texture. And I really want to share that with you because it has just opened up this product to me. Like, it opened up my eyes in such a positive way. It made this product work and I want to share it. So I actually learned this technique from Paula's Choice. They suggest one application method for their product is to use a squeeze of their booster mixed into your moisturizer. This helps sidestep any irritation from like your first couple of uses of azelaic acid, kind of getting your skin used to it. But it's also a very effective method for sensitive skin, which I personally have. And it's actually a method I'm familiar with tretinoin use or like retinols. Definitely a great way to reduce irritation but still reap all the benefits. It doesn't like weaken your ingredient at all. It just helps buffer it a little bit onto your skin. So I was like, well, why can't I do that with this one? It was like light bulb moment, like duh. So I was like, I'm not sure if it's gonna mix super well into moisturizer. That texture is really tricky, but I'm gonna try it. And guys, it worked. It worked. I was like mind blown. No problems whatsoever. It spread onto my skin. No pilling, no balling, no like suffocating feeling on my skin at all. It was awesome. And it works. It was helping to fade some hyperpigmentation that I'm currently battling right now. It was helping with some clogged pores and pimples. Like, I was still getting all the benefits of the cream, but I was sidestepping all that weird texture, which was great. And I actually really like this method with this particular product because I do find this formulation of the 10% of azelaic acid a tiny bit harsh on my sensitive skin. So when I mixed it in with moisturizer, I didn't get any of that like harshness or that little bit of irritation, which was awesome. Now, you already know I love the Paula's Choice. I recently named it my July 2021 favorite. It's in my 3 favorite exfoliating ingredients plus products video. Like, you know, I love it. It's been helping my skin out so much. So I obviously have nothing but glowing things to say about it. And you know, you can tell the texture is obviously a lot easier to work with, most definitely. But I guess the biggest difference that I noticed with Paula's Choice, it's the booster element, right? The additional salicylic acid with the azelaic acid, I do think that this works more effectively on my clogged pores. I definitely feel like this keeps my skin clearer than the Ordinary does. The Ordinary was really good for brightening. It really helped hyperpigmentation. That was very noticeable, but I feel like it could have worked a little bit harder on my pores. You know what I mean? Where Paula's Choice, it definitely is working. It definitely is working really, really well, really, really effectively, and brightening up my skin. So the booster elements here, the formulation here, not just because it's a more elegant, easy to use texture, but we've also got some other helper ingredients that are really making this a more sophisticated formulation. Definitely. It's utilizing the power of azelaic acid and really emphasizing the benefits with the salicylic acid and the licorice root. I definitely see that in my results. I will tell you as well, I think because this is an easier, creamier, slightly more moisturizing, slightly more soothing formulation, I don't feel that this is quite as harsh on my skin as the Ordinary is. So, you know, it is definitely a more expensive azelaic acid, but you kind of can tell why, because there's a little bit more going on here that could be, it's not necessary, but could be more beneficial for your skin. They've just put a little bit more, I don't want to say effort, but they've just put a little bit more into the formulation, and I think that it's definitely a more sophisticated formula. So this or that, right? I mean, they both definitely have something going for them. When it comes to brightening, I think actually both perform neck and neck. They will both help to work on hyperpigmentation and even out your skin tone. When it comes to clogged pores and acne though, I think the Ordinary helps. Don't get me wrong. It definitely helps, but Paula's Choice does do it better. It does nudge ahead just a little bit. It's got additional salicylic acid in it. You know what I mean? It's just going to work a little bit more for any kind of like pore-based problems that you're trying to solve. Texture, I mean, obviously Paula's Choice wins, right? It doesn't mean that the Ordinary has like an unusable texture. I just gave you a great hack if you're struggling with it. And for some people, it's not going to bother them at all. Definitely not. But yeah, Paula's Choice has a much more pleasant, easier to use texture. And price. No contest. The Ordinary wins hands down. If you are looking for an affordable way to add azelaic acid into your skincare routine, this is the way to go. This is the most affordable azelaic acid that I've personally found, especially at 10%. $8, you can't argue with that for The Ordinary. Paula's Choice, $36. I mean, that's a big leap between the two prices. So I'm going to hand this one over to The Ordinary. So my personal choice is Paula's Choice. For me, the this or that, that's definitely where my vote is going to go. And there's just a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I think it suits my sensitive skin just a little bit better. Of course, number two, the texture is easier to work with. But the biggest one for me, number three, is I think that this formula is a little bit more geared towards clogged pores and acne. And that's really what I use azelaic acid for. That's really my number one concern. And this, I think, performs just a little bit better in that category. So for me personally, this is the right choice for me. But if you are on a budget, I will not hesitate to recommend The Ordinary azelaic acid. Now, you may be surprised to hear me say that just because I have shaded this in the past. But let me remind you, I've only ever said one negative thing about this product, and that is always about the texture. And I just blew my own mind when I figured out the hack of mixing this into a moisturizer. So I definitely don't hesitate to recommend this because it's never not performed. Do you know what I'm saying? It's never not given results. This definitely does give results on the skin. And if you're on a budget, you do not have to spring for a sophisticated formulated like exfoliant. You do not need to do that. That's not where your money needs to be going right now, right? So definitely this is the way to go. $8, 10% of azelaic acid, definitely getting the benefits. And now we have that skincare hack in our toolbox. If you ever run into any problems with this texture, you'll know what to do. So I hope that review helped you if you are on the fence between these two super popular azelaic acid products. And if it did and you didn't hit subscribe yet, please do consider hitting subscribe. I release lots of new skincare videos throughout the week, so don't forget to hit the notifications as well. And I'm curious to know, what do you think about azelaic acid? What's your favorite product? But I also want to know, what did you think about the format of this video? Should I go forward with this or that, just one battle? Or do you like a variety of battles in one video? Let me know in the comment box below. I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world. This storm is kind of making me a little bit scared. So I'm going to sign off. I'm hoping you guys are well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.